Alright. Jossum Possum. We're playing Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, the case of the mummy's curse. And I must make sure this game runs properly. So, there it is. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, okay.
London is not a beautiful city. Under the soot that covers its buildings is a teeming mass of 4 million souls trying to survive, mostly off of each other. You see it in the paper every day. Thankfully, we have the London Times to keep us informed of all these troubling activities with an unbiased eye and razor-sharp accuracy. We find this publication to be of invaluable assistance in our investigations, and I'm sure you will as well. Among the forces of evil which run rampant in this city, there are also, thankfully, 2 groups of individuals who will aid us in our cause. As we do, they attempt to right wrongs and restore harmony and civility to the streets of London. The first of these groups is a ragtag association of young ruffians. I call them the Baker Street Irregulars. Don't let them fool you.
Okay.
They may be scruffy and ill-bred, but they are on the right side of the law. They can go everywhere, see everything, and overhear everyone. They are my eyes and ears in the streets of London, unquestionably a tremendous asset in our work. They will help us in our investigations if they can. The other group is a far more civilized collection of gentlemen and institutions. I call them the Baker Street Regulars. They, too, will be extremely useful in our work.
There's a theme here.
At the start of any investigation, do keep in mind that it is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Unwittingly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories instead of theories to suit facts.
I agree.
The people and places to whom I will now introduce you will help us to collect the facts. May we use them wisely. Come, the game's afoot.
Oh my god, that was amazing. Alright. So I guess we're going to talk about the regulars. Okay. A lot of characters here to go over.
Mr. Henry Ellis is the foreign news editor for the London Times. He is a great reservoir of information of what's happening on the continent. He also has an interest in crime news. Ellis is always happy to help when he can, but you must be careful of what you tell him, or you might find what you've confided to him in the next day's Times.
The music just fucking stops with the dialogue.
Head clerk Disraeli O'Brien is your contact in the Office of Records. The Office of Records contains legal records, both criminal and civil, as well as state papers. I think you'll find O'Brien to be a walking, or should I say sitting encyclopedia of the office's affairs. This is a records office housing documents pertaining to births, marriages, deaths, and lost wills and testaments.
Okay. Who's Pike?
Now here is a person who usually gets in the last word. Langdale Pike is a human reference work on social scandal, especially on the London scene. He contributes bits of gossip to the garbage papers that cater to an inquisitive public. Quentin Hogg is a crime reporter for the Police Gazette. He is an ex-police inspector who found the environment of Scotland Yard less than stimulating. He has a strong deductive mind and is a very good resource.
Okay, what's the crime, though?
If I can't find something in my own files, I go and examine the overflowing shelves of the great London Library. It is a wealth of information. Porky is not a pillar of society, I dare say, but he is a man who has learned from his mistakes and is trying to start a new life. Although he is no longer in prison, he is still behind bars, or shall I say, a bar.
Jolly good one, Holmes.
Yes, Watson. Well, the bar in question is the Raven and Rat Inn. Porky is the proprietor. He has been of great help to us in the past, and I expect he will continue to be in the future. Ah, Scotland Yard. If the Yard knew how to examine evidence with any skill, there would be no need for our services. Inspector Lestrade is the pick of a bad lot. But it is true they may be a source of valuable information. After all, the professional police have methods for gathering facts that are not open to us.
I don't know how this relates to anything, unfortunately.
This gentleman is the head chemist at Scotland Yard Criminology Laboratory. It is rumored that Murray lives in the lab. He is eternally bent over one of his tables trying to extract the history of a crime from the physical evidence he's been given.
Okay.
Sir Jasper is the chief medical examiner for St. Bartholomew's Hospital. He is London's greatest forensic pathologist. You can depend on him for all the technical details that can be obtained from any corpse whose cause of death is in question. Edward Hall is a young barrister whom you will find on most days at the Old Bailey. He's a cut above the other unimaginative members of his profession.
Holmes, don't you think you should explain to them the difference between a barrister and a solicitor?
Yes, of course, Watson. A solicitor handles the routine legal business of our society. If you do not have to go before a court, you will have no need for a barrister. If you must go before a court, then your solicitor would engage the services of a barrister.
This was so unhelpful.
I think you'll find these tools to be positively invaluable as you endeavor to help Holmes solve these cases.
Okay. The newspaper should be your first stop when starting a case. Simply choose one of the papers and look for relevant names and locations in the articles. You can scroll each column up and down. Alright. The directory contains names and places to help you in your sleuthing. When you hear or read about a curious name, select the appropriate tab to look it up, then use the directory tools to investigate further. Oh, this is all very dry. Once you select the name or location, select one of the 3 icons below. You can send Holmes and Watson to this destination. Send the Baker Street Irregulars instead, or search Holmes' file for additional information. Alright. So I can send Holmes and Watson, I can send some of the boys, or I can do more research. So I'll always do more research before I do anything. Cool. You can use your notebook in 2 ways. Select the Clue History tab to review information on what you have seen and done. Select the Clue Hints tab to request a hint from Dr. Watson himself. Oh my god. V. Watson himself. Oh, video scenes. I am living for these. Sending the detectives to your location will play a video scene. Some scenes are pertinent to the case, while others may be dead ends or red herrings. Touch the video for playback controls. Enable or disable subtitles in the settings menu. If you have enough information to solve the mystery, select the gavel icon to bring your case before the judge. He will ask you specific questions to determine if you are indeed a master sleuth. There's also clue points. We got clue points, everybody. Certain actions in the game will cost you clue points. Your goal is to solve the mystery in as few points as possible. Note that you will not incur additional points by sending detectives or irregulars to a duplicate name in the directory. Alright. I guess we'll play the game now. This is Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, The Case of the Mummy's Curse. And now we can, now we can begin the game. Within a lantern-lit sitting room on 221B Baker Street, Sherlock Holmes slowly takes a pull from his pipe, while Dr. Watson, reclining after a bit of tea, pursues a discarded copy of the London Times.
What rubbish! What balderdash!
You must have read something terribly disturbing, Watson, for you to be so overwrought this early in the morning.
Indeed, Holmes. It's irresponsible of the Times to play upon people's superstitions.
Ah, you must be referring to the affair of the mummy's curse.
Has the entire city in an uproar. 3 men dead, and they expect us to believe that a 4,000-year-old mummy was the murderer. I'm surprised you haven't taken some interest in this case, Holmes.
To the contrary, my dear Watson. I have made some inquiries, because I dare say I do believe this murderer is a much younger chap.
Exit. Okay. Does anyone know what the mystery is? A mummy murdered. Let's read the newspaper, okay? All right, so we got. Oh shit. That's not what I wanted. Let's go back. I guess we'll start from February and read our way through. I'm gonna get pen and paper. I feel like I'm gonna have to do some actual detective work here today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This will be good for detective work. So what do we know so far? There's a mummy and a murder. That's all we have. Let's do some sleuthing, everyone. Personnel. Errol. Welcome home. Violet. Jonas. Regretted not keeping appointment. Will you forgive me and arrange again? S.E. What the fuck is this? Fitchett. Anyone who can give information as to the family relatives of Jacob Fitchett, who was last heard as serving on the United States steamship Dakota, is requested to communicate with Cunningham and Davenport solicitors, 13 Chancery Lane, Lincoln's Inn, London. W.C. who know of something to this. Alright. Alright, you know what? Can I scroll down at all? Okay. Living ostriches. That's not going to be important. Strange event. A sudden gale on the Isle of Man blew off the roof of a stone church yesterday. It would have crushed the pastor's home, but was blocked by a tree which had fallen earlier. No injuries. Alright, well, God's real. That's cool. Well, let's look at this murder. A murder in Bloomsbury. A murder was committed in Bloomsbury last night. Shortly after 10 p.m., Constable Lane, summoned by cries for help, entered the home at 42 Tottenham Court Road of Mr. Oswald Mason, chief accountant of the Bank of England, and found the body in his study, where he had apparently been murdered by a blow to the head. Mr. Mason's body was discovered by his wife upon her return to her home after around 10 p.m. The police report only that the intruder apparently entered by an upstairs window, and judging by the disarray of the study, a struggle occurred in which Mr. Mason met his death. As of this time, the crime has not been brought home to any person. But the best detective of Scotland Yard are now involved in the investigation and search for the perpetrator of this bloody crime. Mr. Mason is survived by his wife, Rose, and her brother, Cecil. Okay. This is probably more up our alley, though, because I see already Egyptian. Letters. To the editor of the Times. Sir, I feel I must write to formally register my outrage of the irresponsible handling by your paper of my recent discovery. Your reporter's insinuation that I lack the credential to unearth such antiquities is an utter affront. For your information, I am a world-renowned authority in my field, especially Egyptian studies. Your reporter obviously has no appreciation for the significance of such a finding and has no understanding of archaeology. I demand a retraction post-haste. Earl of Downey. Understood. So a man was murdered. A man was murdered. In his home. I'm assuming, so they're saying that shortly after 10 p.m. They probably mean February 5th, 10 p.m. Right? They gotta mean February 5th. February 5th, 1888, 10 p.m. But that's irrelevant, though. That can't matter. That's sort of fuck with you. The shit about Egypt's gonna be important. This is all balderdash, poppycock and nonsense. All we have to know is that the Earl of Downey is probably going to be an important character, I'd imagine, right? This guy who's all about mummies. Huh. Okay. This question mark. Oh. Understood. This goes to August 17th. Alright. Births don't matter. Marriages don't matter. Deaths don't seem to matter. Lions murdered in Hyde Park. 2 lions, both male, were found shot to death. Wow, that's depressing. There's some more letters. Nothing quite matters. That doesn't quite matter. Barry O'Neill, lion tamer. Oh, whatever. Bunch of lion shit. This looks important. Let's see. At the London University College on Wednesday afternoon, before an appreciative audience, Dr. Ebenezer Turnbull delivered a lecture which dealt with the history of excavations and the method by which they may most profitably be conducted. Dr. Turnbull and archaeologists James Windeback and Andrew Weatherby are embarking this week on a new Egyptian expedition, excavating Kadabet's tomb at the head of the Valley of the Kings near Karnak and Luxor. Saturday's lecture was illustrated by photographs thrown on a screen. Man, this is a lot of reading. I'm not gonna lie to you guys when I say I did not think the game would be this. Alright, so the mummy murders happen in March. Let's read these. Alright, so the mummy shits is what's going to be important. So, let's go back to this first thing, or the second thing. Saturday's lecture was illustrated by photographs shown on a screen by electric light, which showed vividly and distinctly not only the works done at various stages, but the modus operandi, the conditions under which work of this character must be carried on. Oh my god. This is way more reading than I thought it was going to be. Oh, son of a bitch. I do not know about this, fam. People in chat, the two of you that are here, I'm not sure if we should be doing this. Let's get a Watson hints. Oh, -5 points. Oops. Alright. We got all the Watson hits. An article in the newspaper from Tuesday, March 5th, 1889, mentions the strangulation of Ebenezer Turnbull. There are ancient linens around his neck. Are those strong enough to do the deed? Note there's no author for this article. Yo, this is kind of boring as fuck. This is all a bunch of reading. Oh, we know who did it. It was Philip Travis. He did it. Alright, let's go to the judge.
No, gentlemen. You haven't done a thorough enough job of investigating yet. Do continue your sleuthing.
Boo! Boo! I remember who the fuck it was. You know what? No one's really here. I'm gonna stop this and play something else, because holy shit, this is... Yeah, honestly, this shit's like... boring. Like, I know it's a detective game, but like... Man. Fuck. I'm gonna, you know what, guys? You know what we're gonna do? You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna tell everyone what we're gonna do. Where am I? There I am. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do, lads. I just bought Freedom Fighters, and so we're gonna play that instead. Okay? We're gonna play Freedom Fighters instead. Because that made me want to go to bed. That was so boring. I felt my body ache. I'm in no mood. We're gonna play Freedom Fighters. So I'm gonna rename the stream into Freedom Fighters real quick.